All right, hello everyone. We are here today with discussing with NEDA Connections today, where we will be discussing promoting inclusiveness during at-home workouts. I am Lawrence Miller, NEDA's Senior Director of Programs, and I just wanted to say a quick hello and introduce Kerry O'Grady before handing it over to her to introduce Owoade and Liaison. So Kerry O'Grady is NEDA's Wellness Liaison. She's volunteering with us for a few years now. We're super excited to have her here. She is the Faculty Director for the Masters in Public Relations and Corporate Communications program at Georgetown's School of Continuing Studies. She's also an Associate Professor of the practice. A passionate fitness enthusiast, she's also the creator of #RealTalkFitness blog, Kerry Lee in the City, Instagram handle @Kerry Lee in the City. And I'm now going to hand it over to Kerry to introduce Owoade and Liaison.
Thank you, Lauren, for the very kind introduction. I appreciate it. I could not be more excited to talk about this super important topic of promoting inclusiveness during at-home workouts, and we only have 15 minutes, so let's get this started. I want to first start by introducing our panelists. I have the amazing performance artist, teacher, and advocate, Owoade Ayarende, and I also have the amazing Liaison Glover, who is an instructor and actor as well. You can find Owoade at 305 Fitness DC, and you can find Liaison at Dance from Home Virtual Workouts, which we can put the contact information out after this broadcast. Welcome, guys.
Hi. Thanks for having us.
Of course. All right. So we have lots to talk about. Let's dive in. So first question. What does an inclusive workout mean to you? You both are instructors in the digital space and in the actual physical space, now more virtual than ever. What does an inclusive workout mean to you, and what does that mean when it comes to different body types? Liaison, let's start with you.
Inclusive really means to me all-encompassing, right? So I come from a theater background where a lot of it is you have to look a certain way to be a chorus boy or a chorus girl or a leading man or whatnot. And so you go to gyms and these workout classes, and sometimes you feel out of place because you don't look like the instructor or you don't look like the other people taking class. So for me, an inclusive class is where you look around and you see people from all different shapes and sizes and colors and backgrounds coming together to share a common goal of not so much being like fit and sexy and this and that, but to feel better about their body and just feel like they belong and not feel out of place in these environments. And that's what I really strive for in my class in particular.
That's great. Owoade, what can you add to that?
Yeah. Snaps to all of that. And I'd also say pre-planning classes for differentiation. So my background before I was in fitness was in early childhood and special education. And so my life has always kind of been ensuring that everybody in the room is getting the information at the level in which they can receive it. And so I think in this idea of like wanting people to feel empowered while they're being healthy, making sure as the instructor that I'm providing multiple ways to receive the information so that everybody's feeling this encompassed feeling that Liaison was talking about.
I love that. Actually, that pivots very nicely to my next question about how does an instructor in this virtual space that we're now in make sure that their workouts are ready for every body type? Is it just modifications, or is it something more than that when you're teaching a class? Owoade, why don't we go back to you to kick it off because you left us off on such a great note.
Yeah, I mean, modification for sure. But I know for me, in terms of the science of, giving people cues and really get into that, I've actually had to read more and educate myself more. But I would also say, like myself, I really have to make sure I'm grounded before I teach. I really have to make sure I'm centered, because if I make a comment about how I feel about myself or my body that might not be inclusive, I really could be setting off the class in a negative tone. So really making sure that I'm checking in with myself. I have what I need before I sign into that online class, because there's a little anxiety that we're doing this virtually. And so I have to be even more sure of myself, more grounded in my ability to deliver a high quality class, so that my clients feel as though, oh, well, she's feeling great, so I can feel great. And we're starting off with that energy.
100%. And to add on to that, I feel that being at home when it's in your own space, you want to feel as comfortable as possible, right? Because when you go to a studio, it's not your space. Even, you can go to 305 a million times and it still not be your space. But when you're in your home, you have to feel comfortable. So I do the same thing. Like I will, kind of shut out my roommates and everything. And I kind of just have a cup of coffee and a water. And I always start with 3 inhale exhales, and then I go into it. You have to have a clear mind. You cannot think about like, oh, I feel this, because we all have those days, right? But you want to like, how can you be uplifting? How can you uplift others if you're not uplifting yourself?
Totally. No, I love that answer. And so I know that that's such a great point, Leon, about like, hey, some days are harder than others, right? How do you find that motivation to make sure that your class is inclusive every time you teach it? Are there special tips or techniques that you can give fitness instructors, studio owners, or fitness enthusiasts that are watching to say like, hey, I know that I did the class the best I could today and everyone felt welcome?
I think really it's going in with fresh eyes, fresh ears. We all have those days where, I used to teach class at 10 o'clock in the morning, and so I'd be like, I'm so tired. But if, you kind of have to leave it at the door, and you have an hour to be there with other people, why not enjoy that time with each other? Like, yeah, you may hear the same songs over and over again because you teach it over and over, but just hear it again in like a different light. And you're like, oh my gosh, there are drums in this song. So it's like those kind of things of like thinking like, because if you go into it thinking, oh, I'm so tired, I'm having a bad day or this, and now I have to teach class, oh, it's draining, it's this, that, I say the audience, theater background, sorry, so like the clientele, your guests, they feel that, they instantly pick up on it. You know what I mean? It's the moment you walk out on that stage, because that's technically what we're doing, we're walking out on that stage, they feel it instantly. So anything that you bring in, you have to just kind of leave it, and I guarantee you, like, there are days that I've been kind of like, I walk into class and the energy from the class uplift me and it's changed my day completely. So I think like just listening to those cues and feeling that within your body, definitely.
That's probably contagious for people who also might not be comfortable coming to class. They might feel that energy and feel more inspired. Owoade, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I've actually, between, teaching on 305 Fitness's YouTube channel, I've actually met and received clients that I never would have had the opportunity to meet virtually. I think in this time, during the pandemic, like doing cardio is something that's so incredibly important. And I think it's very important to empower people to advocate for themselves. I'm a huge proponent of self-advocacy. So this means listening to your body, me constantly reminding in class, you know your body best. That would be the same thing that I would say in the classroom, but I mean, in the studio, but very much so at home, right? Because, like we've discussed, you're kind of in your comfort zone. And so making sure that you don't feel this pressure, even through the computer, whether we're on Zoom or we might be in a big, you might have your camera on, whatever it might be, ensuring that you're checking in with yourself just as you would in real time, that you feel like, maybe I'm not feeling great today. Maybe I'm not going to do all 12 of the burpees or I'm going to dance out the whole song. Maybe I'm just going to relax and, constantly affirming that you're doing something healthy, I think is really what people need during this time. And the mental health and the physical health of people is really important. So as long as people are keeping their body active and they're talking to themselves with an empowering tone, I think that we're doing the right thing.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think that's an amazing point. And to that, what tips and tricks would you give to fitness instructors and studio owners to make their classes more inclusive? You both said, you're at home now, you're in somebody's space. There's an added pressure, I would think, for you to be able to deliver on an inclusive level because their kids might be watching, other people might be watching. You're not just having that person in your space now. What advice would you give to instructors? Leon, let's start with you.
I would say be patient, first off, right? Like really be patient with the technology, first off. We're all learning, right? We've been doing this for months at this point, and we're still learning. So I think be patient and be yourself. really, just like let them know, like, look, girl, I can't do all these burpees. Let's try to do it together, Or I always say, like, be careful, to kind of piggyback off of what was said earlier. So not only listening to your body, but be careful of the space in which you're moving, right? I personally have a hardwood floor, so like it's easier for me to do some things than some people would have on a carpeted floor or with rugs or with children or pets or anything like that. So I think it's really, you have to really, really, really take that next step in engagement, right? Taking it past being like, yes, girl, I see you. Actually really seeing and knowing these people that you're connecting with through a screen, right? The energy in a room when you're together is completely different than the energy when you're on a screen and you're just seeing somebody through technology. So I think you have to make that little more, push that effort just a little more. And it's just so rewarding. Like I've also met people that I'm just like, wow, like I'm really getting to know you better now because we're virtual,
Owoade, what do you think?
Yeah, all of that. And I would say specifically for instructors, studio managers, I would really advocate for pre-planning. Virtual space is not the space to wing it. And I also think it's very important to think through an equity lens in terms of equipment, in terms of how I'm delivering the product, the avenues in which I'm delivering the product, because I do believe the fitness industry is revolutionary in the inclusion idea that we try to deliver a product to a whole wide range of people, all different abilities and body types. As the instructor, I have to pre-plan that because it's not like the in-studio space where I can see my roster. Sometimes people log on and I've never met them before. So I have to think this before the class starts.
And I think also, like, just really quick, like just saying, like, at the very start, hey guys, we're here to have a great time. Listen to yourselves. Like, you don't have to have, 30-pound weights because we don't all have those weights. It really is like what you said, that pre-planning of making it inclusive. Yeah, you don't have weights, a towel works. If we're going to do weights, just keep it taut. Let's do it like that. And just add up those reps if you want, whatever makes you feel better in the long run, in the longevity of it all.
Yeah, I love that. And then that actually takes us really nicely into our last question, which we're actually going to pivot from the studio owner instructor angle and talk to the people who are really just wanting to be involved in fitness that are watching this, right? There is a lot of language, and we're not going to talk about what that language is, but there's a lot of things that maybe might turn people off when you invite them into your home to do a workout, right? And you want to alleviate that anxiety. How do you talk to those people out there that are looking for at-home workouts? What should they look for in an inclusive workout? When do you think is a good match for them? What makes a workout inclusive that they should look for when they're shopping for classes? We'll start with Owoade on this one.
Good question. I think for me, because I've even, I had an opportunity during the pandemic to take a lot of classes online, which I wouldn't usually, managing the studio and teaching. I would say if I was looking for a workout, I'm really looking for somebody that's going to make me feel comfortable in my home. I think that is the biggest thing. I'm not looking for somebody to be putting on a show for me as the client. I'm looking for somebody that's going to ease me and not make me feel pressure to perform as the client. So, I'm going to go through maybe their social media, or I'm going to try to see if they have some type of video accessible that I can see. And just to make sure that I'm not putting myself in a position where I feel inferior, incompetent, not good about myself just by logging on. And so ensuring that this is a safe space, essentially, like what makes a safe
Sorry, Washington Heights. No, I agree with that wholly, right? I couldn't even really put it any other way. That's perfect. Like, really, it's all about doing the research, because we really now do have the time to do the research and think, like, what about this instructor appeals to me? Like, what are their values? Like, what are they? Are they just performing? Are they, like, how different are they in a studio than online? Like, we're in a studio, like, personally, like, I'm all about, like, if I can, I'm going to push through it. I'm going to push through it. I'm going to push through it. I'm going to push through it to show you that we can do it together. I'm with you. I'm struggling. That jumping jack section is not fun. It's hard, but we're in it together. You know what I mean? And I think personally, when I take classes, that's what I love to see. I love to see the instructor get sweaty and have fun. And I think that's what a lot of clientele do really enjoy. They like to see the instructor work with them, not be like, yes, girl, I am fierce. Ooh, that one bead of sweat. No, honey, I want you drenched. You know, like, because that's what we're all trying to do. We're all trying to be there together, right? You don't want to feel like a spectator in this.
Mm-hmm. What a great note to end on, because we are out of time. But at the end of the day, I think what you both answered in that question was, if it's not making you feel good, feel inspired, and feel confident, it's probably not the right class for you, right? I think that's pretty much it. So thank you both so much for joining us for this important conversation. A reminder to all of you out there, if you are having some struggles or anxiety around exercise or depression, please make sure to see a medical professional. We care about you, and we love you, and we want to support you. So thank you again for joining us today, and we look forward to next time.
Thanks. Bye.